who was Sunderland midfielder. He was the sporting director at New York City FC at the time. So yeah, there's that. That's a nepo baby. That right there is a big nepo baby. Like if Timothy Weah's like Timothy Weah got his start and then he had to prove his worth. But he got his foot in the door. Well, he couldn't end up sustaining but if like this is like clear nepotism. Like your father is the sporting director at a professional soccer club and he got his first start at New York City FC. Like by the way, this is completely unrelated, but Timothy Weah's father is the president of Liberia. That's pretty cool too. So, but the best that he could do is get him in an academy at PSG and let him work his thing out there. But Giovanni Reyna's dad, Claudio Reyna, was a sporting director at New York City FC. This is probably the biggest case for nepotism, bar none. Like on this list here, Giovanni Reyna got his first start at New York City FC, where his father was a sporting director. However, the American, named after Claudio's former teammate, Gio Van Bronckhorst. I didn't even know that. That is wild. That's cool. We got a shot of that. Gio Van Bronckhorst was a mean, and I mean a mean left back, bruh. I remember when I was my first World Cup, I was watching the 2010 World Cup. Gio Van Bronckhorst playing for the Netherlands. He popped that shot up. It was the semifinals against Uruguay. They sent them to the finals, bro. They won 3-2, bro. Gio Van Bronckhorst, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, man. He tagged that goal. Like he tagged Fernando Muslera from had to all my soccer people, all my international people, you know what I'm talking about. He let this shot off. He let this shot ring off in South Africa from 35 yards away in that stadium, bro. Had to be, bro. I'm talking about big hop, big form. Just shot it. He was the captain. I think he was 34 at the time. Bro, he sprayed it, bro. He shot that shot like he ain't never shot one before. And it went into the top right post, bro. He sprayed on that man. He absolutely blessed. He blessed the top right post. So shout out to Claudio for naming Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, naming his son Giovanni. That's the one right there. What you got to say to the people, Melchizedek? Talks Radio. Tevin West. We are here to stay. We ain't going nowhere. Just because you thought we was down, we up. The more you hate, the more we great. The more you anticipate, the more we elaborate. Sit back, relax. Talks Radio. Tevin West. Hey, yes, sir. What's going on? Tevin West. Talks Radio. That's where you at. You know what I'm saying? What that is, though, from the look of things, it must be magic. Doing wonderful things. Yes. We back at it, y'all. What we got today? What we got? Nepotism. I wanted to come on the airwaves today to discuss nepotism in the world of professional sports. I wanted to discuss the pros, the cons, and why you shouldn't be upset with it. But first, the ways you can support monetarily, Talks Radio. We have a patreon.com, patreon.com/talksradio, tOCS radio. We also have a Cashapp, # Talks Radio, tOCS, Talks Radio 23. Also, we have a listener mailbag where you can share your comments and ideas for the show, feedback of any kind, or you just want to drop some flowers off, that's Melatonin Memphis. That's MELATONIN Memphis, MEMPHIS @gmail.com. Now, first, the definition: nepotism. It reads as the practice among those with the power or influence of favoring relatives, friends, or associates, especially by giving them jobs. Uh, in today's world, we would call them nepo babies. Now, before I get into this, I just want to say that I, f- I feel like on micro and macro levels, there are people that benefit from nepotism, and they may not even know it. You know what I mean? You meet a person when you're doing your hobby, and that person could absolutely give you an opportunity to explore job opportunities or career opportunities you didn't even think that you never even thought about. You never had an avenue to do. You know what I mean? You could meet somebody doing something, and you guys strike up a conversation, and that person likes your posture and your attitude about things, and they think that you would be great in another area. That is a form of nepotism as well. And I think that some of us benefit from it and don't even know it. You know that there's a saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Now, I'm not discrediting people for having talents and abilities out of this world that just got them in their position that they're in. I'm not challenging that at all, but I did just want to make it clear that I feel like relationship is a big reason why a lot of people get into a lot of situations. The relationship that you built over time, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? That can cause you to get in situations. Instance, I know in the media world, for me, it was being able to start off doing a radio internship that didn't last very long at Cumulus Radio, but I got that because being in college, getting contacts and being able to reach out to people in the radio game. It didn't work out for me there. That's why years later I ended up starting my own thing, and this is what it is. But I just wanted to put that out there. You know what I mean? So I have a list of names I want to read off to you that and with that list I'll just go over their affiliation with possible nepotism. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go into more of what I think surrounds it, because I don't think it's all black and white. I think it's a gray area. I'll go over possible nepotism, their stat lines, and I'll give my take on just how much of a nepo baby I think they are, meaning whether or not I think nepotism played a huge part on them getting a shot, along with two articles that I have here and their stats in either the previous role, that being an amateur role like high school or academy or college, or we will look at their current role as a professional, to see if they've held up and carved out their own career, or if nepotism is kept them in their current or past professional role. So I also wanted to mention too, like when you see like sports announcers that kind of like shoot to the top, well, not sports announcers, but like network analysts like you see on ESPN and stuff. Some of the former professionals, they got their spot. Yes, part they were a professional athlete and they know the game, but also part like they have the skill to kind of break down what goes on in the game and kind of feel that out and tell you a story and craft that narrative. But they have to have that. They have to have that competency, and if they don't have it, like they don't work out. You know what I mean? You got to do your homework. So we'll look at those, and we'll go forward. So we'll also discuss some outliers. You know what I mean? Some people who may have made it to the professional ranks, and that they didn't necessarily directly benefit from nepotism, like in the way that you would think, the direct line. But without further ado, let's get into this list of 8 players that are a part of the main discussion. Brendan Rice. Yes, Brendan Rice. Who is Brendan Rice, you may ask? He is the son of Jerry Rice, a NFL Hall of Famer wide receiver who spent his prime years with the San Francisco 49ers. He collected over 20,000 yards with multiple Super Bowl rings. That guy had Joe Montana as a quarterback first. First of all, he came out of Mississippi Valley State, which is a historically black college, and he was able to make waves in the college game at Mississippi Valley State to the point where a coach named Bill Walsh was, doing his research and his recruitment is what he gets paid to do and stuff like that. And he scouted Jerry Rice and he said, I want to draft him. You know what I mean? Diamond in the rough type stuff. And so, yeah, multiple Super Bowl rings. So he had Joe Montana as a quarterback, and then Joe Montana gets pushed to the side, and he ends up having Steve Young as a quarterback, and wins another Super Bowl. Then he ended up having Rich Gannon as a quarterback. I mean, Rich Gannon wasn't really good for a long time, but he was good for a certain amount of years. He actually got the NFL MVP, and so having those three type of quarterbacks, it's a good bit of fortune that goes along with it. But he also had the skills to pay the bills. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna flex on that. You know what I mean? So, true fixture in the game of football. Now, his son Brendan Rice is a wide receiver who played at the University of Southern California, or simply USC on the West Side. And he had an interview with Donovan James, a then sports writer of Trojan Wire. But he has since accepted a job at Jaguars Wire, a part of US Today Sports Media Group, and Touchdown Wire. Shout out Donovan James for pursuing his dreams in a real way, because thriving in media in any capacity is hard. Like I had spoke before, former NFL players and stuff like that, they do it all the time, but it's the having the competency to really show and craft your story and make it stick. And so a shout out to Donovan James. He this interview took place April 25th, 2024. It's a two-part article, so I just want to read it and just kind of go from there. So the first part of the article is a pretty much kind of big up in his little sponsorship he got. Not a little sponsorship, it's a it's a sponsorship, you know what I mean? So yeah, Breathe Right is working with former USC Trojans wide receiver Brendan Rice on a fun partnership before the NFL draft begins. This week on April 25th, we had a chance to sit down, talk with the man who hopes to be a future NFL star. This is a full circle moment in a partnership in a very real sense. Jerry Rice wore Breathe Right nasal strips during his career, and now Brendan Wright will do the same. Brendan even recreated Jerry's iconic Air Jerry ad from the 1990s. If you didn't know what a brief strip is like those little strips you put over your nose, and it's supposed to like open up your nasal passages so you can breathe better. So, Chargers Wire, Donovan James. How cool is it to be a part of something like this with Breathe Right, with your father Jerry obviously paving the way back in the 90s. The 90s I'm 30. The 90s was 30 years ago. That's crazy work.
Crazy work. This is
It's
crazy
awesome
work.
to be able to continue a legacy on that was before me, and it's a true privilege, man. I'm so grateful for my dad and Breathe Right. It's amazing partnership and product all around. How long have you been using Breathe Right strips? Actually, Brandon Rice says, it was this past season. I've always dealt with nasal congestion and allergies on the field, but Breathe Right has changed the game of football for me and made me better. With Breathe Right, with breathing better comes better play. And you know, my lungs are getting all the oxygen needed to succeed at the next level. I put in that, you know what I'm saying? I just had to put that in there because I felt like he was saying that anyway. Did you get your teammates Breathe Right nasal strips at USC? Yes, my teammates were always asking me for strips before the game. It was so great to go ahead and impact them and share Breathe Right with my community. You know how it is. Like if you got like something going on, like, hey, I got this free thing. Your friends and your homeboys are gonna be like, yeah, like we'll take some for free, of course. You know what I mean? All right, and then the second part of the interview here, USC wide receiver opens up about an interview before the NFL draft. Here we go. USC wide receiver Brendan Rice asked about a lot of subjects in an interview conducted before the NFL 2024 NFL draft. Brendan Rice talked about being Jerry Rice's son playing with the USC quarterback star Caleb Williams and his evolving relationship with his mother. Part of the story explores his mom's support. I did not have that father figure for a long period of time, and she truly took over both roles. Brendan said of his mother in 2009 Cronkite News interview. This is what I needed to go ahead and become the person I wanted to become in the long term. I'm truly blessed to have her. Brendan continued speaking and explaining there was a time when they didn't speak often, but now they talk a lot. He said it's truly gone from, yeah, we talk, but nothing too close, to actually being, hey, what's up anytime throughout the day, Brendan told Kay Adams. Brendan noted that he also learned important lessons from leadership from his famous father. There's a lot that goes into this leadership and being that role model, and I feel as though he presented himself as the perfect role model all his career and all his life, Brendan said. So, just a little tidbit here, just picking up from this interview in the first part, I could see that there's a bit of nepotism that played in because his father was able to help him get an ambassadorship and a sponsorship with Breathe Right strips, so there's one right there before we even talk about his professional career. I think that that's good. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that whenever you can put your kids on in a way that they can get some money, and possibly get out of your pocket. I think that's always good. I think if you can put your kids in a role where they can make their own money, I think that's always good. I think that's the benefit of nepotism sometimes is where you can get your kids shining. You know what I mean? Like what good is it if you can't influence to pull somebody else up? You know what I mean? There's a lot of people in this day and age that have parents that they gloat over. The parents will gloat over having more success than the kid, and I just don't. I think that's weird. Like they'll be pulling that. Like I've seen these like YouTube videos and stuff about how parents will pretty much like go over to because it's different now. The inflation is high and stuff, so a lot of us might not be able to even own a house. And it's parents who had kind of already got in and got out, retired, whatever. It's like, man, like, wow, it's expensive, huh? That type of stuff. That's weird to me. I don't like that. Or it's like a parent will be like, if you're, busting your chops and really like not even partaking in like the festivities of life, just rut it down and paying bills and stuff, and taking care of your priorities. Your parent might say like, live below your means. That's wild. You're gonna tell That's wild, mate. Live below my means. Just live below your means. Like it's like you don't really understand it. But I digress, right? So the second part of the interview is him talking about his relationship with his parents. And from the interview that was crafted, the second part I could see possibly I could be wrong here, but I'm gonna just take the position that, he was kind of like nannied. Like his parents weren't really active roles in his life in terms of like child rearing. You know what I mean? They were probably caught up in doing their own thing, and they had the means to do so. I don't know. There was a NFL Films 100 greatest players. You know what I'm saying? To ever play a game of football, and Jerry Rice was like number one, and John Gruden had something that is like Jerry Rice was the first person we ever called GOAT. Call him the GOAT, just like nickname. And he said he had somebody follow him because he was his coach at the Oakland Raiders for a time, and he said he had somebody follow him for workouts in the summertime. And Jerry Rice would run up all down the Northern California hills, you know what I mean, just to create, his endurance. And he said his best play was created in the last 2 minutes of the game. 2 minute drills, what they call it. And so basically it was like if Jerry Rice is running in the Oakland Hills in the summertime, you know what I'm saying? If he's running in the Sac Hills or whatever, in the valley, you know what I'm saying? If he's doing all that, he might not have necessarily all the time to be the present father that he needs to be. And I could be totally wrong about that, you know what I mean? And he also said, the relationship with his mother really helped him out, and that they got closer as, he got older. So it just kind of painted a picture for me at least that he wasn't necessarily reared by his parents. He was probably reared by a nanny or something like that. But maybe I'm just thinking too far into that. Now, here's the deal. Brandon Rice, he was selected. This interview was conducted before the NFL draft. He has since been selected by the LA Chargers. Um, Here's the thing though. He was picked number 227 in the 7th round. If you didn't know, there's only 7 rounds in the NFL, playboy. Playboy, like Birdman. Playboy. Playboy. There's only 7 rounds in the NFL. And as a matter of fact, in the 7th round, the last pick, they they announce. Listen to this. This is how crazy life is. Like weird things go, and like how you try to keep from like people try to make it a people. Everybody, it's like they feel like everybody needs a trophy, but like in the most like this is probably one of the most like humiliating things if you think about it. But because it's the NFL, it's like get in on the joke. The last pick is called Mr. Irrelevant, bruh. They literally get up there and be like, for the last pick of the draft, Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy, because that's who was picked. Ironically is the quarterback, the star quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. But it's just like, yo, like why are we doing this? Like I was the last pick. Like keep that, hold that down. You know what I'm saying? But he was picked number 227, one of the last picks in the draft. And while he was at USC, he amassed 1,600 receiving yards, 103 receptions, and 20 tuds. Now he's known to be a much more physical receiver than his father, and he had said that he runs the same. He played 4 years. He runs the same as his father's. His father got a lot of straight line speed, and in certain movements is real, straight up stiff. But he can get down low and break it. You know what I'm saying? He played 4 years in college and got better every single season. He was at Colorado for his first 2 years, not very productive his last 2 years at USC. And he played before Deion Sanders got there and made it a carnival. Which he made it a show. You know what I'm saying? That's what he does. That's what he does. He builds a product. That's what you're supposed to do in a successful business, bro. You're supposed to build it up into a show and then make it lucrative enough where you sell it and then you get an opportunity to live off that money for a second, eat, and then you go do something else. You make another business. You know what I'm saying? It just so happens that this business was already intact with football. You know what I'm saying? It's already a show. He just made more of it a show because he prime time. You know. So now, what does that mean in terms of nepotism and how that played a part of him becoming a professional? From my perspective, it appears that his last name, you know what I'm saying, it may have gotten his foot in the door, you know what I'm saying? But if that, but nothing more. Um it would more likely be like a West Coast situation, like a SoCal, like the Chargers organization being located in Southern California. You know what I'm talking about? Being located in SoCal was keeping a close eye on his performances and looking to pick him up from the draft. As sort of like a project player, uh, or a player they could, maybe take a chance on without having to do much leg work because geographically he was close, being at USC. And if he doesn't pan out or have those Jerry Rice genes in quotations, then you cut your losses. And if he turns out to be a player that you thought he could be, you sign him to a cheap rookie deal and allow him to develop. He's 22 years old. That's young, and we have a weird infatuation about like youngness. From the business side, they're being fiscally responsible. I remember, look, brother. I remember I was at this combine in Austin, Texas, in 2019, I think, and 2020. And this we were training. We were all trialing and stuff. There was San Jose Earthquakes was there. Austin Bolt was there, and a few other USL teams were there. But San Jose was the MLS team that was there. And there's this guy who was recruiting for the MLS for San Jose Earthquakes, which is the worst team in the league by far, the worst. Oakland Roots, shout out Oakland Roots though, shout out to them. You know what I mean? They doing it, but this guy was like talking to everybody, brought everybody together as if he was gonna tell some type of secret. And this is what he said. He's like, how, asking people, how old are you? How you 22, 23, 21, 24. I'm one of the older ones there at the time of 26, right? I'm 27. And he says, he pointed at this, it was clearly a kid that was like super young. He was like, how old are you? How old are you? That's how he said it. How old are you? And Buddy was like, I'm 15. And this man was like, that's good. That's good. Like that, like, what a way to kill people's like confidence, bro. Like, I don't understand the infatuation with like youthfulness and I mean, I get it because like young, get them young so you can mold them, but to just absolutely like ex-nay people that are not even that old, like you're saying, a 23-year-old, and it had this guy that was 23 years old out there balling. He was a center attacking mid, absolutely balling, switching the field, stretching the field, moving it across. He was like, I'm old. The guy just said so. So it's just like it's weird how they. But anyway, Brendan Rice is 22, and that's good for him. So cheap rookie deal if it pans out. You know what I mean? So point blank, is Brendan Rice a nepo baby? I'm not gonna lie, man. It's yes, but not directly to Jerry Rice. So his one of his things, he had an interview with Keyshawn Johnson, who is has a show on Fox sports talk show on Fox Sports called, with his son, called All Facts No Breaks, which is super cringy, but it's Keyshawn Johnson. Shake down, come through. This is a Madden song. It was like Keyshawn Johnson. I don't know. I don't know this song, but he was having a conversation with him, just kind of filling them out and letting everybody, the world, hear him and stuff. It's kind of like one of those things you do, like before you get drafted, you go on shows, and it's kind of like your interview, basically, like your interview for get this teams see you and get what your personality is like. If you're gonna be a rough shot, if you're gonna be a super cocky, nepo baby and show all your privilege, or if you're gonna be this, person who just got a chip on their shoulder. It's gonna show your personality, right? So he's a pretty cool guy. He's a pretty smooth dude, confident in what he knows, right? Physical receiver, stretches the field. They said that's the best thing about him. And but he probably runs like his father, but he's not like silky smooth, get on the touch, break it down, pull back like his father. But he's very, very physical and can stretch the field, and they said they're gonna have to respect it. Anyway, 2 months ago, he had a conversation with Keyshawn on his show. And Keyshawn Johnson is a USC wide receiver, former USC wide receiver, former first round pick. He played with the Jets, Buccaneers, and Cowboys. Okay, complete career. Was he one of the best? No, but he's very good, very great. Made millions of bucks. And rolled that into a sports caster, career. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. Zubin, his name is Zubin, but I say Zubi. You know what I'm saying? Now here's a stretch for me. Now I said that his sponsorship was a direct reflection of the relationship he had with his father and being his son. I think that's a thing. But as far as the NFL thing, it's not too much of a stretch to say that he was on that show. Keyshawn is so cowboy, went to USC, and it's no stretch of the imagination that the Chargers probably called up Keyshawn Johnson and was like, "Hey, you know, we saw Jerry's son, we saw him, and he had already expressed like, Keyshawn was like, "Hey, do you want to play on the East Coast or you play on the West Coast? Do you want to play on the West Coast?" And then Brendan was like, "I think that I would be, East Coast has like tougher, gritty football, but I'd like to play if I was gonna play, I would play on the West Coast, and if I was gonna play on the West Coast, I would like to play for any of the LA teams, right?" So he's already putting his bid out there. Like, And it was like, do you want to play for the 49ers? And he was like, no, I don't want to play for 49ers. I want to make my own. I want to make my own go at it. You know what I mean? So he's kind of like canceling out, like letting them know, like, but he said he was a Raiders fan too. So there's that. So he wanted to play for every team in California except for the 49ers. And so, but he was just like, obviously I'll play for any team that selects me, but I would do it in California. I just wouldn't want to do it for the 49ers. So he's already letting teams know that he doesn't want to be considered a nepo baby. He wants to be a person that can get it out of the mud on his own as much as he can, for being, you know, as privileged as he is in terms of just being the son of a Uber Hall of Famer, like super goon, I'm talking about, on the field. So it's just like he was already kind of putting that energy out, like, hey, bro, I'm willing to work for everything that I can get out of this game, and I don't want any handouts. Well, it's no stretch of imagination. Keyshawn Johnson was like, hey, this kid, he wants to earn everything. We're in, LA, that connection, you know what I'm saying? Keyshawn Johnson probably is that, even though Brendan Rice is like 6'2", 6'3", Keyshawn. So that's kind of like the same build. He's just a little taller. He just getting those contacts that they have, reaching out to former NFL players. They're like subject matter experts. You know what I'm saying? So it's important that they got that feedback, and they were like, okay, this guy wants to ride it out. He's saying he wants to, ride the beef. He wants to ride the. He wants seventh round. Then why we have to pick him earlier? We can pick him seventh round. Let him trial. We know he's probably gonna do well. Sign him on a cheap rookie deal. Go from there. Develop him. He's 22 years old. We'll let him earn his way up. You know what I'm saying? And if he doesn't pan out, we cut. But I highly doubt they weren't planning on him not working out. You know what I'm saying? Like one of the, you know. So it's not like black and white. So is he a nepo baby, like, to the fullest? No, he obviously wanted to show that he could do it. Like, to as much as he can. He wanted to show that he can do it on his own and get it and grind it. And he kind of wrote his own story. And they picked him in the seventh round. So we'll work with you like that. He stated his case. Hey, I'm not here to act as an extension of my father. I'm here to write my own destiny. You know what I mean? So just just for a quick look at a nepo baby in parallel to the situation, could be just by glance. It's just by a glance, because it's like it's not one that's talked about a lot, but I feel like it should be talked about. And again, like, I'm not coming for his neck or anything. Like, I'm just saying, like, I'm just looking at a parallel situation that is not as televised or as, like, mediavised. You know what I'm saying? Tariq Owens, coming from Missouri State, is currently at 49ers rookie camp. Well, 49ers rookie camp. Rookie camp, I don't know. It's probably over. OTAs are now, right? He was basically trialing with the. I think he probably still might be trying, because I don't know if the rookies go to OTAs as well. But I mean, he's pretty much trialing for the 49ers. You know what I'm saying? And he wasn't selected in the draft, to my knowledge. He was an undrafted free agent and did not have like a stellar career at school, like stats wise, but that's not what he was very good at blocking. He's very good at blocking and opening up holes for his team and being the whatever they needed him to be at the time. So he was very coachable like that, you know what I'm saying? But his father, Terrell Owens, was a prolific and absolute ball smacking wide receiver for the 49ers in his early years in the NFL. I mean, Missouri State, I mean, who's to say T.O. didn't give the organization a call and ask for a favor for his son to try out? Now, like, I know pro teams invest millions and millions and millions of dollars and hours and time and resources to find a place. I know that. I know that, bro. But I also know the NFL front offices are very much rinse and repeat, bro. Like, if they can get the same formula cranking out that made them successful within any avenue on the field, they will do it. And they're not above seeking out information or receiving information from former players that made their organization money. Case in point, Eli Manning. Eli Manning, like we don't know if it's like true or not, but I feel like when Eli Manning like hit the door before he left, 2-time Super Bowl champion, beat Tom Brady twice. He was like, they're like, hey, like before you leave, you know what I'm saying? We know you're gonna go do your thing, third thing, but can you like give us like somebody like who could possibly be waiting in the wings? You know what I'm saying? Like, tell us, like, Eli Manning, he won 2 Super Bowls. We were completely irrelevant, and he was like, he was probably like, yeah, Daniel Jones. And the reason I say is because Daniel Jones was in the Manning Passing Academy camp, like for a good bit of his teenage years in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's all over, but it's just one of them takes place in Charlotte, North Carolina. He ended up signing at Duke. He did not have like super statty, he didn't have gaudy stats at the University of Duke, BTW. So they signed him. You know what I'm saying? I think they paid him in the first round. Like, how many quarterbacks come out of Duke? Come on, bro. Make it make sense.
No, 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 no,
If there's
no.
a connection there, if he went to the Manning Passing Academy camps as a teenager, signs for Duke, it's no coincidence. It's 6'5". He's 6'5" and a dual threat quarterback as well. So he's Eli Manning's height, but with more mobility. It's no, it's no, it's not a far stretch to say that they looked at him for advice. So, like I said, they're not above seeking out information or receiving information on former players that who made the organization, you know, money. Just think of any former professional player that was a high performer on their team as a forever consultant or a subject matter expert. We call them SMEs in the government. Happens all the time. I'll give you an example. The Bright Boy engineer, shout out, shout out Django. I said Bright Boy, Bright Boy, Bright Boy. Shout out Leo DiCaprio, man. That was a big time play. He was saying like Bright Boy to Django because Django was always kind of clever. You lay your palms flat on that table. You remember that? Y'all remember that movie Django? The Django. Come on, man. The D is silent. So 25 years. He retires, won accolade, chief engineer, won accolades, saved lives and money, maybe even innovated a few times. Moves over to the contractor, to a big time giant contractor like Boeing or Lockheed or Northrop Grumman to get that big bag. That's what they do. Like, if you're not a professional athlete or something, if you're in the military or whatever, government, what they do is after they get done doing their work, um, for the government, they, 15, 20 years, or they do 10 years to equal up 30 years for more retirement, you know what I'm saying, to equal up to 30 years of retirement for their pension. They'll leave and they'll go over because in the government, they don't pay you as they pay you well, but they don't pay you as well as a contractor pay. The benefits, it's like the benefits, you know what I'm saying? The insurance, the the health insurance, the dental, the vision, all those things like that. That's kind of like security. It's more security based. It's like it's more for like security, if you're a government employee, when I say that I mean civilian or military, as opposed to when you go over to Northrop Grumman or Lockheed, you get that big old bag. They're paying you 250 bands. You know what I'm saying, a year to advise and consult. Maybe even more if you go overseas. Maybe even more in states. All I'm saying is, just look at it like this. So he getting that big bag before he goes off, like completely stops working. Right? He's at his desk one day. He's finally the consultant advisor for whatever company has hired him. He gets a call from his former commander that was put in place about 2 years before he retired, running around in his new position. So the former commander was put in place 2 years before he retired, which means that guy probably PCS there and he didn't really know what was going on. He's still trying to get a hang on things. It's still new to him. Not too sure how to fix a system with this fleet of, I don't know, 120 cargo aircraft. They all need to be up to par to ship material, beans, greens, hogs, dogs, chicken, lamb, tomato, you name it. No, he needs to ship off manpower, aircraft, all those things, material, what, all that. And his engineers and his chief engineers don't know how to get it done, not logistically, but just fix this issue that's keeping this fleet of planes in the hangar. You think that commander won't ask that engineer, that chief engineer that was there for 15 years while he was coming in those 2 years before he retired, whatever, who's probably the most senior chief engineer amongst his peers at the time, for help? You think he's not? You think he's not gonna do that? He's gonna pick up that phone. Same situation applies here. Front office in pro sports do call on those players from the past that made a difference for insight. They call on from time to time, and if the insight just happens to be their son, you know what I mean, or daughter, if you're talking about women's sports, we don't discriminate here on Talks Radio. Nepotism, it works. It works. Now, as I wanted to state, as I stated about Jerry Rice and Brendan Rice, but I would say it's about Tariq Aziz. Both men are listed over 6 foot and 200 pounds. So when it comes to measurables, these guys, they fit the bill. They fit the bill for a wide receiver prospect. You know what I'm saying? They fit the bill for, prototype. It's like they look for a prototype size, speed, all that stuff, hand size, all that jumping. They look for that. They fit the prototype just like their fathers did. And the average height of a wide receiver is around 6 foot or taller. We're gonna go on a quick commercial break here about cybersecurity. Westside Cybersecurity. What up? It's your boy, and this is a PHA. You know what I'm saying? Player hater announcement. It's probably someone trying to jack you, hack you for all your vittles right now. So you gotta make sure you keep your game tight. I'm talking about enterprise grade security built into the site and fully managed for you, like Jerry Heller managed NWA. Westside Cybersecurity. We keep the jackers, scammers, the robbers, whatever you want to call it, the shysters, off of your mail. Look for us in. Okay, back at it. Let's take a look at Talia Tagovailoa. He is a cute quarterback and a younger brother of Tua Tagovailoa, current quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. He was alongside QB of younger brother Tua Tagovailoa, Talia Tagovailoa. Tua is the current quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. He was quarterback alongside his brother. They were both at the University of Alabama. Okay, so he transferred to the University of Maryland in the Big Ten. That's what's up. After one season at Alabama, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, I need to leave. His brother left and he left. He played a total of 5 years and ended up with 11,000 yards throwing, 77 TDs and 37 interceptions, and a 146 rating as a college QB. He is currently on trial with the Seattle Seahawks, vying for a spot on the team. Now, when it comes to looking the part, he's 5'11", 200 pounds, unlike his brother, who's 6 foot. But the average height of a quarterback in the NFL is 6'3" listed. But in the last 10 to 15 years, guys like Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, even Tua himself have broken down those barriers for shorter dudes to be accepted at the QB position. So, but it's to be expected, but it remains 6'3". But here's the deal: if you're, what I'm saying, boss macking, if you're absolutely, you need to be exceptional if you're going to be an undersized QB. And I think it like goalkeepers too. Like the average height of a goalkeeper average height of a professional goalkeeper, even college, I think, is like 6'2". See, I'm 5'11". It's really 6 foot if I've been stretching a lot. um, Now, shorter goalkeepers, there are shorter goalkeepers that exist, especially now, because Iker Casillas broke the mold. Guys like him broke the mold. Guys like Keylor Navas broke the mold. QBs and goalkeepers go hand in hand, if you didn't know. They both have to read the field and be the captains of their team, de facto. But that's besides the point. If you're gonna be undersized as a goalkeeper, you need to be able to perform. You need to be able to have distribution technique. You need to be able to rally the team. You need to have a very much a controlled area. You need to be the patrolman in your area and command your box. Otherwise, they're gonna think you play small. They're gonna. But with that being said, what do we think, Nepo baby? What do we think? I don't think it's that black and white on this one either. The Chargers, much like the Seahawks, like they're in a transitional period. The Chargers got rid of Keenan Allen, and another wide receiver that's kind of tall and physical. When it comes to certain positions, one being QB for the latter. Does it help that his last name is Tagovailoa and his brother is performing well as an undersized QB? Does it help? Yes, absolutely. You bet your bottom dollar it helps. And you do know that. You do know that. I like that. You do know that. And you do know that. Hooray! As I stated previously, in his stat line, he got game. Shout out Denzel and Jesus Shuttleworth. So it's really a combination of nepotism and his ability lining up to give him an opportunity. You know what I mean? I don't think it's black and white. I think a lot of people want to write it off when they get upset. They don't get in a position like, oh, that's just because he knew somebody. Like, no, 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 no. These aren't slouches. I seen a picture of him. There's a viral picture going on, like him doing a drill, and it's like, oh, I know this guy is Tua's brother, but who's this other guy who just absolutely does not look like a quarterback prototype, but he's huge. He's huge and can probably slang that thing. So if you can ball, like they'll take you on. And if you have like exploits in the past that prove that you were, here's the deal. I'm not gonna get too far ahead. It's lining, like I said, it's lining up nepotism and his ability line to give an opportunity. Not to mention the front office, like they're always going to be looking the Seahawks. They're always going to be looking for a Russell Wilson prototype. That is the signal caller that has the ability to make plays with his hands, his brain, and feet. The two in front of him, Sam Howell and Geno Smith, have the ability and our season in the game. No matter what you say, we gonna keep on stacking change. We season in the game. They season, you know what I'm saying? So they all, they're seasoned, and they outsize the young man. But Talia, it's Tauli. I feel like I'm saying it wrong, but I'm trying. Talk to radio as a as a I think the Seahawks see him much like the Chargers see Rice as a player that they can develop without incurring major financial costs. From their perspective, they see what you might call pedigree. He's young. Pedigree is this. He's young. He's young, so they can mold him. Right. There's always this thing of like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Oh, right. Actually, there might be some truth to that, but there are some people that are older that are very coachable. They just need an opportunity. Look at 2 Chains, a record. Hey, from Titty Boy to 2 Chains, brother. Anything can happen. A record of upper class. This is pedigree. Pedigree is a record of upper class, decent athletic. A record of upper class and decent athletically, and that's what pedigree is in terms of sports, right? He has a pedigree. He has a brother that's doing big things right now, and so he's also playing quarterback and also ripping it up in college. He's decently athletic, probably more than that actually. He has a history from his previous engagement to back it up. Ain't no secret. Big dog status, ain't no secret. So well played, in my opinion. He played it right. You got to keep shining, you know what I'm saying, to get that. If you're going to Nepo someone in, Nepo a guy who's been proven to take care of his responsibilities. He's been given.
Sir, yes, sir.
Talia.
No.
He did that and then some. Plus, he did 5 years in college ball, which means like Brendan Rice, he knows how to hold his consistency and be patient. Patient. He moved schools just like Brendan Rice did too. He was patient, you know. He was like, "All right, I need to move over here, and I need to figure it out over somewhere else." That's patience because you got to transfer and do all this paperwork and stuff. You know, like you don't know what it like. I had a chance to transfer. I didn't transfer colleges. This is a lot. And he could have declared for the draft at any time previously after his sophomore year, but he did not. Okay, let's shift gears to basketball. Controversial topic: Bronny James, LeBron James Jr., the son of LeBron James. James, who was at USC at the same time as Brendan Rice, was declared for the NBA draft, or he declared for the NBA draft expeditiously. Shout out to T.I. for making that word super famous. After his freshman year, Brendan Rice was older than Bronny, but Bronny got up out of there. He's coming off a season in which he before his freshman season even began, he suffered cardiac arrest. I say suffered a heart attack while at practice. Can you imagine that? Being what, like 18 to 19, being fit as a buck, and having a heart attack while you're playing a game you love. Gosh, the mental state you be in, you know what I'm saying? Uh, The mental state you be in during the aftermath would probably be that of disarray, and I think it was for Bronny. And it showed on the stat line. He played in 25 games, only started 6. He averaged 5 points per game, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, and close to 1 steal a game. He was a star coming out of high school, though. I ain't gonna cap you down. He was playing prestigious. He was picked to play in the prestigious McDonald's All American game. I'll give him that, man. That's hard. That's a hard game to get into. I don't care who dad you got, man. You're not getting into that game unless you got game. You know what I'm saying? He's currently working out with the NBA Combine, or he was. He's not anymore, but in the Combine game, one of the first Combine, he had 13 points in 23 minutes. So do we have a nepo baby on our hands, and to what degree? Yes, I think to the umpteenth degree. Do I hate this? No, no. Worst players I've had a turn. Giannis Antetokounmpo is literally out here making money for starting fights and being a bodyguard, or basically a professional bodyguard for the Milwaukee Bucks. Even J.R. Smith's brother was given a turn. He was getting paid like $2 million a year to like just be in the organization, bro. The Knicks, like, to keep JR happy. Like, there are worse situations, and I'm not even bragging on them. I'm just saying, like, I don't think this is a bad thing. Like, I think it's a particular case of nepotism that gets under a lot of people's skin because it's very publicized. It's in your face, and people hate when you rub privilege in their face. Do, 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 do. Like, I think it's yeah. I think when you rub privilege in people's face, like they don't like that. It's like keep your privilege hidden. I don't want to see that because I can't get it like that. But what's different from this case of neponess than the last two? Honestly, is just because it's super in your face and it's LeBron. People have like it's LeBron James's son and it's LeBron. Like some people tend to have a lot of hatred for LeBron and for a myriad of reasons. I'm gonna get into it, and they feel like it feels rushed. It feels like from the world's perspective that LeBron is rushing to get his son into the NBA so that he can end his career playing with him, even though all the signs point to like he's not ready. I mean, it's further than MJ's sons got, right? I mean, LeBron, like Bronny. One thing that I saw, I watched the combine highlights. One thing that I would say is that like LeBron James's son is probably gonna get it. He's gonna end up being that player. Like, let me just play devil's advocate. Like, I would say that, like I said, seeing a few highlights of Bronny James, I'm gonna play devil's advocate, which is giving valid reasoning for a situation I don't necessarily agree with. Like, who am I to actually have an opinion on this man's family? But I digress. I shall descend into further madness. I mean, as he does, putting his firstborn in the NBA who just had a heart attack. So like I'll say that Bronny gives more, like he gives me the vibe that his value may not like always be shown on the stat sheet. I know that's like super. Of course, you're gonna say that he ain't got no stats, like, or or if it does show up, like there it won't be in the way that like we are used to seeing it for his dad, like 28 points, per game, like stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? 6 assists, whatever, 8, whatever. Rings, starting super teams. It's not gonna show up like that. Like he may not be the guy that gives you 20, 25 points a night. He'll probably give you like 8 to 10 assists. Like when he starts to grow into his game, because I'm just assuming that he's gonna end up doing well in the NBA. That's I always want people to do well. I do not wish people bad on their endeavors. I'm not like there's like two things. Like on the southeast, it's like bless your heart. Like, like all right, we'll see where this goes. And on the northeast is like, oh, like for like the blue blood. Like I wish, I wish you the best of luck. I wish her the best of luck. I wish him the best of luck. That's totally the opposite of what you wish them. You wish death and destruction. I'm not about that here on Talks Rate. I'm all about uplifting for real, for real. So many of the analysts say that he's very selfless on the court, opening up play for his teammates to get buckets. Which in today's game, I'm sure it will work for the guy they expect to take out the garbage, like a Pat Bev or PJ Tucker, which is no smut on those guys. They made their living, and they have made an excess amount for their family and generations to come, built on taking out the trash, bro. Being that defensive guy and doing the dirty work. But see, if there is an expectation for you to boss it up like your dad, will they give you more opportunity once your pops retires? Like with an expectation of greatness upon his dome. I'm not sure if coaches and front offices will just like blackball him at a certain point. Like that's assuming he becomes, like I said, like the player I just described. He's 6'4", so that's short in the NBA. We shall see. We are gonna go to a quick commercial break. With some Westside Healthcare. We will be back.
Where can we go to find low cost but decent healthcare plan?
Lost Medicare, chip coverage player. Don't worry about none of that. Westside Healthcare gonna take care of all that for you. Emergency plan for when my badass kid stub his toe. What about me? I'm an old lady. I got 3 kids, but they ain't worth a damn. And they done left me at this house all by myself. What if I fall and break a hip? Will you be able to help me? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Here at Westside Healthcare, we always gonna make sure keep your game tight. We don't ever want to leave you out on the bad foot. If you got any questions or concerns, just call us at our office here, 445-8286. That's 445-8286. We're out here over on Manchester. It's Westside Healthcare. Come get you some. Yeah, da da. Okay, back game tight. Yeah. So we got off of Bronny James, and now to the to round out the show. Okay. So to round out this show, I wanted to name off a few more names and outliers and athletic families in the Nepo world. So here we go. CMC, Christian McCaffrey, is a running back from the University of Stanford in California, Northern California. He was recently, in the Super Bowl. He is a fine running back, just fine. Like, almost reminds me of like a Roger Craig, almost like the 49ers, like cyclical. I swear, if they could replace the running back, they're always looking for a freaking Roger Craig. He would catch out the backfield, line up in the slot, but also running between the tackles and bounce outside. You know what I'm saying? Christian McCaffrey, he's a father. He's a son of Ed McCaffrey, and Ed McCaffrey was a legendary wide receiver. I mean, he wasn't like he's gonna be he's legendary for the Broncos. Like he's not gonna be in the Hall of Fame. He didn't put up the numbers, but he won like 2 Super Bowls with them. He was an excellent slot receiver. Like you could almost look at him as being like like a Julian Edelman, but like way taller, and way more physical, and could do way more um with his body. He put his body on the line. He blocking for you. Ed McCaffrey would go on kickoff and make a tackle and kickoff, and then catch a game winning touchdown like in the fourth quarter. And he didn't even know it. Like him and Ricky Prohl are like my spirit animals, just dogs. You know what I'm saying? Didn't care, but always kept himself like in shape for the occasion. You know what I mean? Not gonna be used as much as you'd like, probably, but he's already like in shape, and so it's like the McCaffreys. Like even Luke McCaffrey just got drafted by the 49er, the Redskins, and he's a wide receiver. I expect him to do well. So it's just like CMC, Nepo baby. I don't think that he would have been like he obviously did that. He obviously took the information like as far as like Nepo baby. Sure, if he was talking about how like he was like bred to be like a professional athlete basically. It was just like, yeah, my pops, like one time I had like a calf strain or something like that, and he was just like, um my dad put me on IVs, you know what I mean? Like IVs after the game, and I would be doing IVs before school and stuff like that. And he'd show me like cycling. I had to, get on the bike and pedal and do certain workouts and stretches and stuff like that. And no more calf strain, no more no more cramps. He had cramps, and taking proper nutrition. His father would give him a game like yeah, I know you like go to like a private Christian school where they wear like suits and stuff, but like, right? You really like seriously like you want to wear like pants like streamlined tight pants like before the game day? Let's put on some shorts. It's Ed McCaffrey, so he's gonna be able to wiggle his way to get his son to wear shorts. I mean, not shorts, sweatpants. He's like, where should you want to be like really like relaxed before game day. He's like at pep rallies, you don't want to be yelling and doing all that stuff. Like, you don't want to be out in the sun. Don't be squinting. Don't be using up too much energy before the game. Just little stuff like that, you know. But that's because his dad took time to go through that process of building his body up, because Ed McCaffrey knew that he wasn't gonna be like point man. He knew he was gonna have to do the rough shot work. In order to do the rough shot work in your body to hold up to the rough shot work that is required for you to be you have superstars and you have role players in sports. That might be very, very general and super like super streamlined, but I'm just keeping it real. Like you got superstars on the team and you got role players, and most players are not superstars. Most players are role players. So once you realize like what you fit in, you got to get in where you fit in. And he was like, I'm gonna train real hard. I'm gonna eat the right things. I'm gonna go to bed at the right time, and I'm gonna be ready to be on kick. I'm gonna be able to keep my body up so that I can take the punishment, because I know I'm gonna have to take the punishment more than Rod Smith's gonna have to take the punishment, or John Elway's gonna have to take the punishment, or whoever is gonna have to take the punishment. Like I'm gonna have to throw this block to this 250-pound linebacker when he's trying to come across and cut my receiver off, or cut it, stop this defensive end that's coming. I'm gonna have to do that. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to do that. And because he took the time to build up his body and stuff, because he knew he was gonna be in for the rough shot, he got his moments to shine, no doubt. But because he knew that he was a role player and he was gonna have to be tasked with most of the dirty work, he took the time to fix, learn and how to take care of his body, and he gave that information to his kid. The Bible says, which one of you, if your children ask for a gift, will give him a serpent? None of you. You who know how to if you who know how to give gifts to your children, and are evil, how much more does the Father know how to give and is, perfect in all his ways? The point is, bro, like if you are a father worth his salt, like you're gonna give your kid like gifts and things, good things, you know what I mean? And his thing was to give his son information on how to be the best athlete possible. And Christian McCaffrey took it and just ran with it. You feel me? His son Luke took it and ran with it. You know what I mean? That's what they did. That they had the choice to not do that. They could have been like, "No, I'm not gonna listen to him. I'm just gonna do what I want to do." They wouldn't have got as far. So I don't think he's a nepo baby. Like, I mean, his last name, yeah, but like, bro, like Ed McCaffrey. Ed McCaffrey is what? What? He's a dog, but like, you gotta make your own way. You know what I'm saying? Ed McCaffrey wasn't that big in the game to just be like, oh yeah, like it's Ed McCaffrey's son. Like, let him on. I don't even know if that even like if that even is like completely true, especially in like professional sports. Like, bro, like you got to have something on you. Like Timothy Weah, Timothy Weah, father is, his father is George Weah. You know what I'm saying? Father was George Weah. Excuse me, gosh. Timothy Weah's father was George Weah, legendary soccer player for Paris Saint Germain. And having grown up in the United States, Timothy Weah moved to France in 2014. He played for the Paris Saint Germain youth team, and so he got that right, got that out. Like, I got you into an academy. You know what I'm saying? It's up to you what you do with it. Before signing his first team, before signing with the first team 3 years later, and he ended up playing like mostly club reserve games and youth sides. So the 23-year-old made his first debut match in 2018, coming off the bench in a 2-0 win over Troyes, and he scored his first goal in a in a cup match against Monaco, and then he got his first call up to the U.S. men's national team in the same month. He was born in New York. Yeah. George Weah was born in Liberia, which was actually like it was like a it was like a country, and it's a country in Africa that was started by former slaves that went over to Africa to start a new country, like in Africa, to get away from America. And I think like white settlers like start gave funds to start it or whatever. So I was just making that contrast. Like, I feel like Liberians should be given like American citizenship. That's just me though. But yeah, he was born in Liberia. Son was born in America. The teenager spent the second half of the 2018-19 season along with Celtic, where he scored 4 goals in 17 matches. But that wasn't enough for PSG to really keep him. You know what I'm saying? So, even though he got his start, like PSG didn't keep him. Like, oh yeah, we know your dad, but like, but he's in the game though. All he need to do is get his foot in the door. So it's he got moved over to Lille in League and then in the summer 2019, they became champions. So Lille won the League 1. They beat out. I remember that season, bro, because Mike Maignan was a goalkeeper for them, I think, but he was balling, and now he's a stalwart for France. And then he moved to Serie A with Juventus, so he ended up like proving his worth. You know what I'm saying? So that's another guy, and then you got Gio Reyna. Gio Reyna is the son of Claudia Reyna, is an American that played overseas. But you got Giovanni Reyna. Gio Reyna. This is in soccer. He was born in England in Sunderland, and then he started his soccer journey with New York City FC. Where his father, Claudio Reyna, who was a Sunderland midfielder, he was the sporting director at New York City FC at the time. So yeah, there's that. That's a nepo baby. That right there is a big nepo baby. Like, if Timothy Weah's yeah, like Timothy Weah got his start, and then he had to prove his worth. But he got his foot in the door. Well, he couldn't end up sustaining, like, but like if like this is like clear nepotism. Like, your father is the sporting director at a professional soccer club, and he got his first start at New York City FC. Like by the way, this is completely unrelated, but Timothy Weah's father is the president of Liberia. That's pretty cool too. So, but the best that he could do is get him in an academy at PSG and let him work his thing out there. But Giovanni Reyna's dad, Claudio Reyna, was a sporting director at New York City FC. This is probably the biggest case for nepotism, bar none. Like on this list here, Giovanni Reyna got his first start at New York City FC, where his father was a sporting director. However, the American, named after Claudio's former teammate, Gio Van Bronckhorst. I didn't even know that. That is wild. That's cool. We got a shout out to that. Gio Van Bronckhorst was a mean, and I mean a mean left back, bruh. I remember when I was my first World Cup, I was watching the 2010 World Cup. Gio Van Bronckhorst, playing for the Netherlands. He popped that shot up. It was the semifinals against Uruguay. They sent them to the finals, bro. They won 3-2, bro. Gio Van Bronckhorst, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, man. He tagged that goal. Like he tagged Fernando Muslera from like had to all my soccer people, all my international people, you know what I'm talking about. He let this shot off. He let this shot ring off in South Africa from like 35 yards away in that stadium, bro. Had to be, bro. I'm talking about big hop, big form. Just shot it. He was the captain. I think he was like 34 at the time. Bro, he sprayed it, bro. He shot that shot like he ain't never shot one before. And it went into the top right post, bro. He sprayed on that man, man. He absolutely blessed. He blessed the top right post. So shout out to Claudio for naming Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, naming his son after Giovanni. That's the one right there. So Gio turned professional at Borussia Dortmund, right? So he got his opportunity to shine at New York City FC or to play at New York City FC. They saw that. Borussia Dortmund saw that. They was like, we want you. And is now he was he is seen as a big part of Dortmund's future going forward, but he's on loan um at Nottingham Forest, which I feel like he's being wasted there, but it wasn't really a good fit for him. But he got 20 caps for the national team. He got a long way to go before being like his dad. His dad got 112 caps between 94 and 2006. He's the 10th most cap player. But I will say this before I leave. They had the biggest case of nepotism during the 2022 World Cup that I have seen. And that's why I said, because it just is an underlying thing, like where it's like Giovanni Reyna's mom was like upset that he wasn't getting the playing time, and Greg Berhalter, who was a teammate of Claudio Reyna when they were a national team, like kept him on the bench for some. I don't know. It was big soccer mom, like it was big like grassroots soccer coming up into the 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 senior team and really affect like that's what parents do in travel soccer like in America. Like I don't know if you know like international community, like they'll really like be like, because like I think at certain levels like you're allowed your player the player has to play in travel soccer, they has to play like half a game or at least like 25 minutes a game or something like that. And it's like if you don't do that, you'll start getting like emails, like snarky emails and text messages and stuff, and they'll go over your head and be like, "Oh yeah, my son's not playing, or my daughter's not playing. Or, what's this all about?" Like, I'm gonna get you suspended. I'm gonna get you this and that. At least with me, like it was always like the quickest thing they was doing was trying to like suspend you or get you fired from a from a part time job that you find to be. That's why I don't coach no more. For real, for real. I don't coach. I haven't coached a full team since like 2020, bro. I can't do it. I can't bring myself to deal with the entitlement that comes with youth soccer here in America. Like everybody thinks their kid is entitled to play, and because of that, when they get out of these systems and if they go to college or high level soccer or whatever, they're in for a rude. They be in there for a rude awakening and they quit like little punks. Cause I'm not starting, like I'm not getting the playing time now. No, bro, you earn your playing time. Check game. You earn your playing time. Even the team that I was playing on, the senior team that I was playing, the senior adult men's team I was playing on, I got hurt. rupture my quad, right? Tell me why I'm getting reports back from a teammate of mine. It's like, yeah, like some of the team like players or like teammates like going to the coach because he coached them in high school and stuff like that. And it's like, hey, I need to get some playing time. Like, I need playing time. Like, no, you need to earn your playing time. You need to earn your playing time. And it grinds my gears because I'm a goalkeeper. Like, bro, like goalkeepers don't get subbed on like, you know what I'm saying? Like that. Like you get one goalkeeper playing. It maybe, and I say maybe with like maybe you might get subbed on at halftime, but that's few and far between. So if I have to sit the bench and watch this man play for the whole game because I didn't earn my spot, what makes you any different? But that's how field players be acting. I swear to God. I swear. Giovanni Reina. Then we got Erling Holland is the last one I'll talk about. Erling Holland, man. Erling Holland is like really his father played professional ball. Um but to call him a nepo baby, like to call him an entitled nepo baby, I don't know. I mean, it's hard because it's always hard to call somebody like a nepo baby that's then transformed and like he surpassed what his father was. Like, you know what I mean? It's easy for me to say like Gio Reyna is a nepo baby because his father he ain't surpassed what his father did. You know what I mean? And he's also in the wrong fit, so there's two things too. But with Erling Haaland, like he spent his career like he was from Norway, and he spent his native. He spent his career in Norway with Brian and Moldy. And I don't know if you say Moldy or Mold. I'm being real ignorant right now with international affairs. Please excuse my ignorance. But he made his move to RB Leipzig, or sorry, RB Salzburg in Austria. Red Bull Salzburg. That ain't RB. That's Red. We some Red Bull Salzburg. New York Red Bulls, Red Bull Salzburg. You know what I'm talking about? And RB Leipzig. That's what we say. Anyway, in 2019, and he really skyrocketed his career. That also helps being at Red Bull Salzburg because they win everything in the Austrian Bundesliga. Man, you gonna bubble up if you do right over there anyway. So the 23-year-old got 29 goals and 27 appearances for Red Bull Salzburg, and then he had 8 in the Champions League on that team, and he ended up being at Borussia Dortmund, and then he had like a ridiculous scoring record at Borussia Dortmund. He had 86 goals and 89 appearances. That's crazy work, man. That's crazy. That's Cristiano Ronaldo. So Cristiano Ronaldo actually scored more goals and appearances. So shout out that man. And he got to move to Manchester City, which was his father's former club, right? Alfie Holland, and he is he had 60 goals. He got 60. He hadn't had 60 goals in 65 games. But I mean, it's more than that now. But he won a Champions League there. He just won like the second. He just won the second Premier League title in a row there. I mean, he is like ascended past his father. His father played for teams in Norway in the Premier League, and then his career, was pretty much ended early by a Roy King tackle. He is definitely a far cry. Was he a nepo baby? I mean, his father was professional, but like, ain't nobody gonna make you. Nobody in your family gonna make you take it there. Nobody gonna make you take it to a point where you just bagging goals. And he scored like 9. It's like a video, bro, where he scored like 9 goals in U20, like a youth World Cup game, bro, against Honduras or something like that. Ain't nobody gonna make you bubble up like that. You got to do that yourself, right? So, in closing, I have this to say: these guys, they may be benefiting from nepotism, but make no mistake about it. Many of, if not all, have to work really hard physically. And this is why I feel like you shouldn't be upset about it because they have to work hard physically. Like they have to put hours and hours in the gym and prehab and rehab and film sessions and, you know, mentally, to maintain it. And that's the key word like here, maintain it. Maintain. What do I mean by that? Well, they can't like show up their preseason like out of shape. You know what I'm saying? They probably can't eat what they want. They probably have to take, performance enhancers that total line between legal and illegal, which means that they're putting their body on the line. So you shouldn't be like super envious of these. Like they probably have a sibling or a family rivalry like that is unquenchable and can sometimes divide family lines among other things. Like you know, they got that brother, that cousin, or where like, hey, like they get the family around here, like, hey, like early, like really stunting on your ass. And they're like, bro, like that's so embarrassing. Like why can't you be like, why can't you be like why can't you be like Timothy? Timothy's over here playing in Europe or whatever. Like, why can't you be like that? It's like, bro, like that's so weak. Like everybody's not gonna play professional sports. So they'll do that though. Like sibling rivalry, or put family against family, and then it'll make people jealous. I know Emmanuel Adebayor had a story about his brother and his family exploiting him for money. He don't even talk to his family no more. For all y'all who don't know Emmanuel Adebayor, he was a Togolese striker from Africa. Ended up playing for Real Madrid, Arsenal, Manchester City, Tottenham. Bro made money. Ended up playing his last games in Paraguay. Anyway, his brother, so allegedly his brother called, it was on record. His brother called Real Madrid and was like, while he was on loan at Real Madrid, and because he was on loan from Arsenal, I think, to Real Madrid. I'm not sure if it was Arsenal, but he was on loan at Real Madrid, bro. If you're on loan at Real Madrid, like they trying to see if it'll work out, right? More money for you, more money for me, whatever. No, why are you trying to rock the boat? And he's just like, I don't. You shouldn't keep him. And they didn't keep him. Stuff like that, like unquenchable, like sibling rival jealousy, Indian jealousy. You know what I mean? And that can sometimes divide a family. Like I said, among other things, them having certain things a handout that you can't imagine how many times people are coming with their handout like you owe me. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. So, like they're gonna spend over 3 hours in the gym in a day probably. Now, I'm not saying that like it's just, like they probably do have downtime, but just know like they working to maintain what they have. Like you cannot, they have standards and practices and guidelines like with fitness. Like I know like Arturo Vidal like used to come in like a certain poundage overweight, like at my by me like every week from partying, weekend you get to travel all over party. They would like charge him like so many thousands of dollars per pound. Bro, you losing money that you might not get back. So it's real. Like it's real. Like I've played semi professional indoor soccer. Like that is the lowest totem pole. Like I'm putting my body on the line. Bro, like when you get up to the professional ranks, like you are putting it on the line. You're just getting paid more to do it. But I myself, I myself like sometimes like catch myself like thinking that money and opportunity solves everything. It does not. Money and opportunity don't solve everything. It does not solve everything. I just want to let you know that the money and opportunity, it just gives you an opportunity to do well for yourself and continue to do well for yourself, but you have to keep that up. You have to maintain it. So being a former high level athlete, I know one thing's for certain and two things for sure. When it comes to college and the pros, you're a product. And they're always looking to replace you. You know what I'm saying? Don't get it twisted. They're always looking to replace you. And here's the deal, coaches and front office. Keep it real. I'm being real here. Coaches and front office are absolute whores for new talent. So these guys, regardless of connections, if they aren't always assuming the position of progression, then it is as Swiss Beats the Monster would say, on to the next, on to the next one. So, what do I say about it to close it out? Nepotism may get you in the door, man, and it may even keep you there for a while. but you have to show and prove it every turn. These guys live with being uncomfortable in terms of like professional sports and you going after it. The Bible says, "Do not covet," and it's for a reason. You never know what people are truly going through. Man judges the outward appearance, but God judges the heart. This has been Tevin West on Talks Radio. Have a good night.
Baby girl, you are tuned into Talks Radio. Tuned in to Talk Radio. You are tuned in to Talk Radio. Talks Radio.